listen real close, you can hear them whisper their legacy to you.
A sad farewell, beloved actor and comedian Robin Williams dead at 63. And jump in the TARDIS for our world first TV interview with new Doctor Who duo Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman. This is The Project.
A bit of a sad day today. Carrie, what's making headlines?
Well, in the news today, the world is in mourning after the sudden death of legendary actor and comedian Robin Williams. He was just 63. At 11:55am Monday local time, emergency services in Marin County, San Francisco received a 911 call reporting a male adult unconscious and not breathing. Just 7 minutes later, Robin Williams was pronounced dead.
He was a force of nature, and also he was an extraordinary actor.
Williams was last seen alive at the house he shared with his wife Susan at 10 o'clock the night before. The actor had been struggling with severe depression, and it's suspected he took his own life, with the sheriff's office naming asphyxia as a possible cause. Williams was always open about his battle with drugs and alcohol.
There'll be those nights when you do cocaine and you be like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, and then you wake up the next morning, I didn't die. Let's try it again.
Just last month, he checked back into rehab to, quote, fine-tune his sobriety.
It's been loving. It's been wonderful to know I'm not alone. And that's the main thing when you come out of rehab. If you know that, then you got a big shot.
Despite his demons, Williams was as busy as he's ever been. He'd completed a role in The Latest Night at the Museum and was planning a Mrs. Doubtfire sequel. He also recently starred in a sitcom with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
One of the top 10 greatest all-time stand-up comics ever. And he's also a Juilliard-trained Academy Award-winning actor, and he's also one of the kindest human beings I've ever met.
Robin was devoted to his two sons, Zach and Cody, and daughter Zelda Ray, who was the subject of what may be her father's final public statement. A 25th birthday message on Instagram. Always my baby girl, love you.
Robin Williams, in one of his most iconic roles. A special tribute, next on 10.
He made us cry. We look back at the phenomenal career of Robin Williams. This is The Project.
Lost in the city of angels, down in the comfort of strangers.
Well, back to the very sad news of Robin Williams passing. And in a statement today, his wife, Susan Schneider, said, "This morning, I lost my husband and my best friend. While the world lost one of its most beloved artists and beautiful human beings, I am utterly heartbroken. As he is remembered, it is our hope the focus will not be on Robin's death, but on the countless moments of joy and laughter he gave to millions."
He's a one of a kind. There are many out there who are great actors and great comedians, but there'll never be anyone that's the same as Robin Williams.
He was one of the world's most loved performers.
A little sip of Perrier here. I had to stop drinking alcohol because I used to wake up nude in the hood of my car with my keys in my ass.
Trained at the prestigious Juilliard School, Robin first made it big in the kooky late 70s sitcom Mork and Mindy.
We're on. Take care. Wish me luck. Bonne chance. Adieu.
He just lit up the screen and you just thought, who's that guy?
But it was film where he made his name. His talents were formidable, from Mrs. Doubtfire...
My first day as a woman, I'm getting hot flashes.
...to Hook.
You won't believe this, but I found my happy thought.
While comedy was his natural home, Robin also shone in dramatic roles.
You don't know about real loss, because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself.
His dramatic acting was truly, I think, his sharpest sword, and yet his comedy, with that, he was equipped with a chainsaw.
Throughout his career, he maintained his love of stand-up, often travelling overseas to entertain troops.
He was on TV, he was in films, and then you see him doing stand-up, and he was fantastic.
One of his lasting legacies, his impact on animated films.
Rule number one, I can't kill anybody.
Yeah, so don't ask.
He was one of the first A-listers to voice an animated character in Aladdin. Today stars Clamber for the honour. He received 2 Emmy Awards, 4 Golden Globes, 5 Grammys and an Oscar for his performance in Good Will Hunting.
Oh, man. This might be the one time I'm speechless.
Robin was an interviewer's dream, and we were lucky enough to have him join us at the desk in 2011.
You want to talk to the nice lady?
Yes, I'd like to say hello. Why am I so hairy?
You know why.
Robin Williams defined many of our childhoods. He was a giant of comedy, a master of stage and screen. He battled his demons, but he also gave the world so much joy.
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson.
Celebrities took to the internet to express their condolences and sadness today. And on that topic of comedians that moved into film, first we have Steve Martin, who wrote, "I could not be more stunned by the loss of Robin Williams. Mensch, great talent, acting partner, genuine soul."
Ellen DeGeneres tweeted, she said, "I can't believe the news about Robin Williams. He gave so much to so many people. I'm heartbroken."
And the Academy said, "Jeannie, you're free."
And of course, we first saw Mork on Happy Days, and Henry Winkler, the Fonz, tweeted, Robin Williams was like no other. To watch him create on the spot was a privilege to behold. Robin, you are now, and you're an angel now. Rest in peace.
And also, I think from Happy Days, and one of the great directors still working, Ron Howard. We lost Robin, first witnessed his genius as he created Mork before our eyes in 2 hours on set, a force, a sweet soul, a brilliant artist. Rest in peace.
I was sick at home with Ollie yesterday, and we were watching Flubber, and he was laughing his head off. He thought it was the funniest thing, and I realised he hadn't seen a movie with Robin in before, and I was explaining to him all the other amazing movies that we need to watch together, and, you know, so poignant now, but yeah, he's just got, there's so many, you don't know where to start and where to stop with talking about his films. There's so many amazing ones, and we want to speak now to someone who Robin knew. Warren Coleman wrote and co-directed Happy Feet, another amazing film, and spent a lot of time with Robin. Warren, obviously a very, very sad day for you. I mean, what was your first impression when you met Robin?
Well, it was an extraordinary day. I'll never forget it. We were in a very big studio in Los Angeles, and like normally orchestra recorded in there. We were up one end of the room. I was with George Miller and a couple of the rest of us and the writers, and we were all trying to fix something. And then there was this little buzz at the other end of the room, and a little sound, and this little sort of tornado came in. It was like this little spinning blur of energy and vitality and excitement. And once we were all introduced to him, he was the nicest and most genuine guy. I mean, he really contacted you, and he could not have been more helpful to the work and better to work with. He always made you look good.
Well, you speak about that energy. He did seem like someone that was always up and always happy. Was he like that when the cameras stopped rolling?
Well, he had another side to him, certainly. I remember a number of times over lunch we'd sit and talk with him, and he'd talk about the world and politics, and he had very strong views about these things. I remember one day, about halfway through the session, all the power went out and everything went quiet, and we had to wait for the power to come back on. And he went into a whole different mode. He went very quiet, he lay down, he had a sleep, he relaxed. It was almost very, almost like Zen. And then as soon as the power came back on, it was like he came back on as well.
Well, in these days, it's no secret that A-list stars clamour to be part of the next animated film. It wasn't always the case, and Robin Williams was a bit of a game changer when it came to this.
He was a real pioneer in that, and it's absolutely suited him. The medium absolutely suited his talent, because he was such a fantastic vocal improviser. He'd do some blue material that you couldn't use, and then beyond that he'd go really wild, and that'd be the stuff that you really could use. So he had a fantastic ability to take the scaffolding you'd built of the scene and build this wonderful sculpture out of it that you would then be able to enjoy at leisure for some time afterwards and hopefully put it into the movie.
Warren, quickly, just before we let you go, we've been talking a lot today, you know, with each other about our favourite film that he'd ever done. As a film lover yourself, other than Happy Feet, what would you say was his best work?
Well, gee, there's so many, really. I mean, who doesn't love Dead Poets Society? But Good Morning Vietnam is also fabulous. The Fisher King is another kind of thing that he did was great. He was such a multifaceted talent, and any time you worked with him, it really did feel like a privilege.
Well, Warren, we really appreciate you joining us tonight and, you know, sharing the joy of working with Robin. Yeah, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And it was extraordinary, the kind of the links you could make, the flights of fancy, the voices, the energy. You know, the word kind of comedy genius is bandied around a great deal, but I think he actually was at his best.
Yeah.
You know, he made connections and was so gifted. It's really, really sad to lose someone like that.
Yeah, so much of my childhood just filled with all of those classic films, and that really, you know, just have stayed with me for years and years and years since.
A lot of people saying that today. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. Doctor Who Series 8 premieres this month. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Brilliant, and he was absolutely hilarious. So we wanted to take a brief look at that special moment.
Congratulations, you got married again recently.
Yes, thank you. For the third time. Thank you. Thank you. My best man at the wedding said, getting married for the third time is like bringing a burn victim to a fireworks show.
Did that form part of your speech at the wedding? Did you go with that?
Yeah, well, I want to do the thing when the Reverend basically said, you take this woman as often as possible. The hard thing to do is act surprised on the honeymoon, like, oh, wow. Oh, wow, look at that.
Are you like you are at home now at home? Like...
Yeah, kind of. I mean, she's wonderful. I mean, I'm funny, but at the same time, it's also like, enough. Yeah, you can't be... this is weird, too, because people expect me to be kind of on all the time. A lady walked up to me at the airport one time, and I forget where it was, and she said, be zany. It's like going up to Baryshnikov going, dance, white boy. It's so crazy, man. But no, most of the time, the weird thing is I'm just very kind of quiet, observing, kind of recharging, and that's the way you kind of get more material, listening and observing people. That's the best thing. Years ago, I was reading a story to Zelda, who was 5 at the time, and I was doing all the voices, and she went, just read the story. No more toys this year.
Would you want your kids to get into showbiz? How would you feel if that's what
Well,
they
my daughter's an actress. She's great. She actually, in one of her films, she played the bride of Satan. I went, that's my girl. So, and Cody's in the music production, and Zach's getting an MBA in business. So I'm going, one of them will work.
But I
was very curious. You know, Limo and I went over and did stand-up for the troops last year, and I was wondering, we were told a whole list of things we weren't allowed to talk about. Did you get a list, or did they know that that's ridiculous?
Yeah, I think they just let us do a show that was just, you know, for the troops, basically, no censorship. And my favourite moment was years ago, one of the first times I was in Afghanistan. I looked over, there was a group of Australian Special Forces guys sitting on a fuel truck smoking. And one guy leaned over and said, don't worry, Roman, it's diesel. It's like, ah! But no, they pretty much let us do pretty much an uncensored show because it's for them. The last time I was in Iraq, I stayed in one of Saddam's palaces. It's insane. It's like if Elvis built a palace with Hitler. That must be Colombian drug lords going, God, man, get some taste. It's so weird stuff. But you know from going there, that's the best audiences in the world.
Because they're heavily armed. They're heavily armed.
Oh, it's weird to have a guy. Can I have an autograph? You just point it down.
Yeah. When the hecklers have got guns, it really does focus.
Yeah. Get off! You got it. Incoming!
Do you have a favourite role across the years?
Yeah, Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
With one of the great directors, Peter Weir, who is an Australian and an amazing... He's a director, but he's also a teacher. Everybody who's ever worked with him comes out a better person. He gave me the greatest advice of all. He said, you know, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
If you listen, like I'm doing right now, okay, back. But he said if you really listen with intent, you can be quite powerful. And it was it took so much pressure off of thinking, I've got to be ready to say the next thing. And it was just this idea of inhabiting that just as much as speaking. It was a great gift.
He was a great gift. Incredible.
Actually quite hard to watch. Feel very lucky that we got to spend that time with him. That's it from us on a day when the world mourned the loss of the great Robin Williams. Right now on 10, we're going to bring you one of his most loved movies, Mrs. Doubtfire, from all of us at the project. Good night.